Yes, we're back with another live podcast. This time we're doing, what was the topic again?
Random Warhammer bullshit.
Random Warhammer bullshit, okay.
Wait, I need more caffeine for this.
More caffeine?
Yes.
I should take some more as well, my good sir.
Diet Pepper, Diet Mountain Dew.
Give me some Dr. P.
Never said it again. Alright, so, the perennial topic, who would play which Primarch if they did an adaptation? And it'd have to be a TV show. You couldn't do it in a movie. It'd be a wreck. Granted, Games Workshop and the Black Library have dragged the Horus Heresy out to, I'm like 6 books behind. They're sitting on my desk. I just finished one last night. They're like 50 some odd books. A lot of them, not a lot, but a significant number of them, a noticeable number of them, I would say would be not necessary for the narrative. But yeah, it's probably gonna be like 60 or 70 books when it's all said and done, compared to when they 86 the old Warhammer Fantasy Universe, and they did it in like 6 or 7 books, and it was whack. I was mad, super mad. But so, assuming they do like a TV show, pare it down to the primary narrative, probably get over a lot of characters, but you have to have the Primarchs. You can't do something like, well, let's ignore these Primarchs because they're pivotal. All of them are important. Even Garrus Mantis, he gets axed early on. So I think,
I like to say that Magnus did nothing wrong.
oh Jesus, he meant well, but good God, like he seriously dropped the ball there. But let's be honest. The Emperor should have properly warned his sons about chaos. Though in the, I think it's the very first book in the Horus Heresy, there's some hint that Horus kind of knew. We thought they were just Xenos, that they were just entities that live in hyperspace, basically. They kind of fiddle with reality. So he kind of knew, kind of didn't. That one's a little, you know, wasn't a need to address, or they need to put some skull sweat into. But adaptation, have you playing them? Easy ones, did knock out right off the bat. I must say, Dolph Lundgren is Dorn, the Praetor. I'd say Vulcan, The Rock. To be honest, he's a big, huge dude, and he's like pretty personable. So, Vulcan. I'd say Mark Strong is Horus.
Honestly, I can totally see him as Horus. Somebody actually did a piece of art with Mark Strong's face on Horus, to which looked pretty good.
It works. We have to bulk them out, but then again, they're all superhuman. If you bulked out, there'd be a lot of forced perspective compared to like normal Space Marines and even to baseline humans, which would be like, you know, waist high to them. Okay, so you shoot me for this one, but Jag Khan, the Primarch of the White Scars, the dude, the way they portrayed him in The Strain, the got the Ukrainian last name. So he is a white dude. I'll be honest. But I think he could play a good Jag Khan. That guy's like 6'5" too, which kind of help. A big dude, but moves well. Or if you want to focus on his Blade Master skills and you want to cast a person of Asian descent, I say go for broke. Talk Donnie Yen into it. If you watch his sword work in Dragon, like that's an awesome film, by the way. 2012, him and Takeshi Kaneshiro. His blade work in Dragon, and then pair that skill with, you know, the Great Khan's skill as a swordsmanship. He's arguably the best swordsman out of any of the Primarchs. Now, honorable mention for Lehman Russ, you could have gotten Dolph Lundgren to play him instead, and got somebody else to play. Actually, you know what? Tell you what, I'll backtrack. Lehman Russ, Dolph Lundgren with a beard. The dude from The Strain had him play Dorn. If you guys remember, he played, he was one of the archangels from Legion.
Yeah,
he's the guy who shows up at the end. Was it Gabriel? Yeah. So, in that guy, so this guy,
he was in that one, and he was in Wolverine Origins. He played the Blob.
Played the Blob?
Yeah. fat guy always drinks like big giant Gallon soda.
Was the same actor?
Yeah, it is.
No way.
Yeah, it is.
And you see him, he was in that the Swamp Thing adaptation for DC, for the DC app. I highly recommend. Amazing show, amazing cast. He played what's the doctor's name? Woodfro?
That I wouldn't know because I actually have not.
I actually
read
read
any
the
of
comic
these
for that too. In fact, I don't remember that probably means I'm getting old. But he's in there, and he hadn't slimmed down a lot. Surprising range for that guy, but bulked out in fighting shape, fighting trim. The way he was in Legion, I think actually he could play a good role with Dorn. Very stern demeanor, big ass lantern jaw, tall. Like Dorn, as I understand, was tall even for a Primarch. Mortorian. Also Mark Strong.
Also Mark. Just have Mark Strong play as two characters.
Actually, Alfarius and Omegon, the twin Primarchs.
Oh, the twin Primarchs?
Also them, both Mark Strong.
Just
I don't give a shit.
Just have both of Mark Strong.
All hail Mark Strong, he's awesome. Malcador the Sigillant, he lives out of Primarch. Sam Neill, why the fuck not? Or Mark Strong again. Logar, the Aurelian, Mark Strong. Ferrus Manus, actually, the dude from Gladiator, Russell Crowe.
Oh yeah, him.
Get him back into shape, because last I saw him, he was kind of pear-shaped.
Yeah, he
looks
was.
like he's in, I don't know, what does he eat? I know he drinks beer, because he's mentioned beer before. But what does he eat?
I have no idea.
Whatever he eats, he likes it a lot. Because he's fluffy. He's fluffy. He looks like that comedian that actually called himself Fluffy.
Gabriel Iglesias.
Yeah. He looks like him now. Shoot. I think he might have actually gotten that way for a role on purpose, but it's like, oh lordy, like you weren't playing around. I say this as a human being who has a carb addiction problem and struggles with my weight, so I'm not fat shaming him. I'm more fat commiserating with him. Just like work out really hard or eat donuts and see the end result. But
what about the guy that played on in? I can't remember. I had him in my head right now. Leonidas' Spartans, or 300.
Yeah. Jared Butler.
Yes.
Awesome. Ooh, that's a good one.
I don't want to say he could play the Emperor. It's 50-50 for it.
You know what, man? Like, I'll be honest. Like, maybe even Wilmot from the Ultramarines. Maybe. Just a thought.
I mean, well, actually, we actually seen him rock that haircut too in.
Because like Wilmot was like this amalgamation of like Greeks and Romans. Like they're all this mismatch of Greek and Roman stuff. Question is, who do you get to play? Fulgrim, Sanguinus, and the Lion.
Sanguinius.
Yeah.
Well, I know like Sanguinius was. Well, he wasn't like the Emperor's most favorite one, wasn't it?
He was one of the favorite. He almost became War Master. Horus was the favored son, probably because he was the most generalist, and he was one of the first that the Emperor found. Like the first like couple decades of the Great Crusade was just he found Horus right off the bat almost. Because him and Horus back to back, mano a mano, or not mano a mano, it's one before times that they're fighting each other, but like back to back, fighting a good fight together. For like a big chunk of the Crusade, the Great Crusade initially, was just them for a while. So he had this like bond with the Emperor more than anybody else, which is part of the bitter irony of the story.
So it was for Sanguinius. Oh, that's a hard one.
He's gotta be pretty.
He's gotta be pretty.
Yeah.
I want to say one of the people that might do it if we just change his hair color and shape is Keanu Reeves. Just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there.
Though I would say him either for Conrad Curse or for the Conrad of the Raven Guard. Because that mysterious brooding thing going on. I would say
Conrad Curse? I would say Conrad Curse.
Corvax,
yes, Corvax.
Who wants to see? I mean, I've seen him play a villain. He played a good villain in Men in Tai Chi. But deep down in our hearts, we don't want to see Keanu Reeves as a bad guy because we know he's a good person. So we see all those pictures of him giving up his seat on the subway and being nice to people, even when he's like on his birthday and he's eating a sandwich and kids come up to him. He's like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like, he's a good dude. So maybe head of the Raven Guard quarterbacks. But if you get him on set and to behave, Crispin Glover as Conrad Kurtz. I'm not sure he might have aged out of the role, but when he looks super batshit crazy in those the first batch of Charlie's Angels movies, the ones from like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Him there, that kind of like weird maniacal creepiness and the really sharp features, almost kind of like gaunt features.
Mm-hmm.
I think Crispin Glover could pull that off. Give him like lanky black hair, power armor, some lightning claws.
We got something here. We got something.
So Lionel Johnson.
Oh, it's a hard one. See, I always hear about Lionel Johnson, but I actually never saw what he actually looked like, so I couldn't really tell you.
Blonde and kind of like, I don't say generic, but blonde and like the quintessential warrior knight, very stern.
Okay.
Bad motherfucker, amazing swordsman, one of the best in hand-to-hand combat. So I was arguing with Primark is the best fighter. You're looking, and also a tactician. He's an amazing tactician, but he mistrusted everybody, even his own dudes, and that was his.
You gotta play Jamie Lannister.
Oh shit! I'm gonna scoot over here and give you a fist bump right now. That's good thinking. That is very good thinking. Though,
because like when you said that, I'm like, huh, who's like I want to see Johnson. You gotta play Jon Snow, but that is, you know.
How would play like a normal human? Will it be like Urban, a Space Marine, or somewhere in there in the plot? He's a good actor.
I was gonna say either him or Sean Bean. That played the father of Stark.
Oh. Yeah. Played Ned Stark. Yeah.
Ned Stark. Yes.
Dude, Sean Bean is not Puerto Rico, as Mortorian.
Mortorian?
Yeah, the part of the Death Guard. I can see him doing that. And the bitter irony is that Mortorian and his Death Guard, like basically his dudes, are known for being almost impossible to kill. So that huge irony, the guy who dies in everything, is an unkillable Primarch.
The most unkillable person.
And his sons, his Death Guard Legion, are like almost impossible to kill. They're just that fucking tough. So that'd be a fun twist to Rooney. Angron, I would actually say guy who played Aquaman and played Contra.
Jason Momoa.
Yes. Dude, Angron, dual axes, super pissed off.
Yeah, that's what you see. He can pull off the angry face too, because we've seen it in Conan.
Yeah.
And we've seen it in
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
Actually, speaking of Aquaman, who's the guy who played Orin? What the fuck was his name?
Oh, I've seen him.
He was in fucking Watchmen.
Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, the hell was his name?
Damn, I don't know, but I know who you're talking about.
There's like this movie I saw on Netflix called Stretch, which is surprisingly good. It's him and Chris Pine with a lot of really good cameos. David Hasselhoff was actually on there and was fucking terrifying. Playing himself. I'm like, holy shit, Hasselhoff, scared the fuck out of me. I'm like, man, you're in town, meet you at a 2. Like, I need to turn this movie off and have Hasselhoff nightmares. But
has Hasselhoff, just going off the topic for a bit, has Hasselhoff become like, can't remember, play Batman, old Batman, the groovy 2, I think.
Oh god, he kind of is.
I forgot his name. I can't believe I forgot his name.
Adam West.
Yes.
He's like on par with that, I think, in a weird way. Like, he's kind of like the Adam West of the 21st century. As in, like, people underestimate him as an actor, and he's funny as fuck. But wait, so the dude who played Warren in Aquaman, have that dude play Altharius and Omega. Or, even, if you like being assholes, he kind of looks like Cole Hauser, who's a little more than he is, but have Cole Hauser, instead of doing that whole, like, double trouble, parent trap thing with camera angles, like, oh look, they're side by side, but it's movie magic. Actually have him and Cole Hauser play Altharius and Omega. Because why the fuck not? Because it's not actually going to happen, because this is going to be the biggest project in, like, TV history, and Games Workshop is going to shoot themselves in the foot. I did that Space Marine movie, which was like a terror bag, just cringe. They got the guys from Bionicle to do it, for fuck's sake. Did you see the Astartes, like 1 through 5, with that guy who did it by himself?
Yeah.
It's everything from the lore you want in a fucking, it's CGI.
In a movie.
Oh my god. Oh dude, they just need to shovel money at this motherfucker. I don't know who he is, What the problem is, like, they just need to go find this guy. Like, Games Workshop needs to hire some goons. I've got a hired goon resume prepared. Hit me up. To go to this dude's house, kick down his door, drag him over from his computer, put him somewhere, give him some assistance, shovel money at him, and say, "What do you want for voice actors? Just let him do fucking
anything. Just let him have free control."
Dude, preach. But okay, so we got Altharius and Omegon. Going on Cole Hauser will say, "Oh my god!" He's like, "I'm gonna play second, third level, motherfucker." So those dudes. We need Fulgrim though. Who is too pretty for his own good?
That's a good one.
Yeah, you don't want to whip out your phone and search out men who are too pretty for their own good. It's gonna screw up your search results forever.
FBI guy is gonna be all on me for this.
FBI guy's like, we're embracing who you really are. Congratulations. Oh fuck. He's a surprisingly good actor. He was like a model or some shit. He voices one of the Forge Masters in the what is that? I'll find it though, so you can see what I'm talking about. He was in one of the Underworld movies. He was in that.
Wait, I know which one. He was like the half vampire, half werewolf thing.
No, he was actually the guy who was full vampire, who was like the standard love interest at one point. But he was in Castlevania. He's one of the Forge Masters. I'll find the guy. I always wrote him off as this pretty boy guy who used to be a model or whatever. But
what about Brad Pitt?
Brad Pitt, actually, you know what? Fuck it, Brad Pitt will. I will say it.
Brad Pitt or Orlando Bloom, because those guys look way too pretty for their own good.
Orlando Bloom, I think, could be Sanguinus.
Sanguinius?
Yeah.
Give him a long way, and that'll work. He has played Legolas, so it works. It totally works.
You have to bulk up a little bit. So this guy, Theo James. Theo James. Gee, thanks, IMDb. What are you doing? What are you doing?
They're doing their thing.
Okay, it's covering like half the fucking.
I don't want to see his hairline, man.
This basically what it is, so you gotta see him.
Okay, yeah,
I can see
definitely.
him maybe either him or Orlando Bloom playing Fulgrim, and the other playing Sanguinus. Who are we missing?
We're missing the big E, and
maybe have no one ever see him directly because apparently he looks different to everybody.
Really?
A lot of the lore, a lot of the books and like the stuff is the Emperor's appearance tends to change, and sometimes he looks like a normal mortal man. Other times he's bigger than a Primarch. So it gets kind of weird, man. And I'll be honest, like, why would you make Keanu Reeves the fucking Emperor? I won't say no.
There's this one actor, Chris Pine.
Chris Pine. Yeah, Chris Pine. Who could he play?
Oh wait, we definitely gotta add Chris Hemsworth. We gotta definitely added a big name right there.
Who are we missing? So we've got Ferris Menace, Russell Crowe. We got Willimon. We got
Magnus.
Magnus the Red. Magnus the fucking Red. Who the fuck played Magnus the Red?
Holy hell, I don't even know. You need.
So I finished the Crimson King novel last night actually. But who would play him though?
That is like a very good question because you need someone that has like, I want to say hard features, like
not the norm because he's missing an eye.
Yeah.
I hate his eye and packed with dark gods.
Yeah, and
Here, you come in here. We're determining who's going to play different Primarchs in a Warhammer 40k film or TV adaptation, in theory. But we didn't actually write these down. We were talking about it, so now we're like, wait, who are we missing? So, yeah, we went full geek. Okay. We should have actually had like a piece of paper write this down. Which we didn't get. Magnus the Red.
Got that dry board right there.
Oh shit. Well, I'm gonna say this is your fault. Because you used to drive for it. I'm way over here. Anything that's not my immediate sphere to me temporarily does not exist at times. I probably should talk to a specialist about that.
so we got almost everyone. We're just missing Magnus and.
Well, Magnus, we're missing Bravo, the Siege Master. We're missing Glogar. There's a brief minute we just decided to cast everyone as Mark Strong. He's fucking Mark Strong.
You can never go wrong with throwing John Dorado in there somewhere.
Okay.
John Jesus.
Burrow?
Just Burrow.
Yeah. But I can see him being like a 12-foot tall metahuman.
You can't see that.
No, I can see him playing like a remembrance of like a cinnamon, like a major character.
I'm just going for like pulling off the helmet,
Carl
something
Urban.
ridiculous underneath
Yeah.
it, like Paul
Carl
or,
Urban.
Christopher
Carl
Logan.
Urban?
As Magnus.
That
He
would
has
be
the
good.
facial features for it, and that would work.
He's got the acting depth too, I would say. Like, dude, I was so impressed with him as a fucking Jojo adaptation. So Perturabo, we need someone who looks like a grumpy. Hey, I like him. Looks like a cool guy. But he also can play a grumpy asshole if he wants to. Batista. I see Batista's Perturabo.
That's a
Because
good
like,
idea.
there's
Yeah,
times where
good
he's
one.
sick of people's shit. I can see him being sick of someone's shit as Perturabo. Because Perturabo gets sick of Fulcrum shit right fucking quick.
I mean, all you gotta do is follow Batista's Twitter and he gets sick of people's shit all the time.
This happened there. It's like, okay, does the fact that someone said something disparaging about LGBT people and just be natural?
You
And
see
I'm
this
like,
guy right
fuck
here?
that guy.
Pretend he's Ted Cruz.
Shit.
Have fun. Oh, don't kill him.
Yes. It's like some guy dressed in Space Marine armor, like, mommy. He's like, bam. But then you wear like a Terminator suit of armor with like the fucking gauntlet weapons, and he has in the later where he's got like a huge fucking Warhammer and shit. He's a bad motherfucker. That's just like really intense. Okay, I went back to Warhammer Fantasy. Warhammer 40k, there's some good shit there. Some of the community gets a little bit uppity. Like the Russian yes, the fake British accent, even though I'm fucking Norwegian, that guy. Oh, and this I'm not racist, and then Discord stuff leaked.
Yeah.
And it's like all him justifying fascism and
I'm not
racism.
saying that they're terrible people, but fascism is awesome.
Yeah. He called it. Like, oh my god. Oh my fucking god, that guy.
And speaking of Warhammer Fantasy, I gotta admit that Felix and Gottschalk need a movie.
Bro, dude, I
We were just talking about that.
You're what? How many books in?
I'm almost halfway through the second omnibus,
That's just
and I did
summer.
a couple of the audio dramas are really good, and
Well, dude, fucking.
even though it's Age of Sigmar, it's basically Gotcha going, "What the fuck is this bullshit? You all suck."
Yeah, that's fucking where it's every similar. That's everybody's response. Fuck, what was that? The hell is his name? That voices Gotrek.
Ryan Blessed,
Ryan Blessed. Oh my god.
glorious.
That's the guy who played the King of the Hawkmen in that 82.
Oldest man to ever
Hawkman.
climb Mount Everest with no oxygen too.
No shit.
Yeah.
Really?
He's a
Damn.
motherfucker. Perfect voice for him too. But so if you did a live action Felix Gotrek, so ADHD tangent. Felix and Gotrek, or Gotrek and Felix, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, you want to do a series of them because I think each book could be a 2-hour episode for a TV show.
Mhm.
Carl Urban is Felix.
Yes.
And then who would you get to play Gotrek? We have to scale him, whatever. You have someone who's fucking jacked, but then you use like movie magic to scale him down. Or we find somebody who's just short and fucking jacked.
God,
What about the guy that played the dwarf in Lord of the Rings?
John Rhys Davies? He'd never do it because he's allergic to the prosthetics.
Yeah, that fucked him up. But he would have like breakouts or whatever from that.
They tried to get him to do a cameo in the Hobbit movies, and he told them to go fuck themselves.
Either him
I
or
would say if you're going to scale somebody down, you need somebody that's bulky as hell.
Yeah.
You're going to use CGI to scale him down. Hear me out on this. We're going to go a totally different direction. Instead of getting a short guy, we're going to get the biggest motherfucker we can find. The Rock. No. Hawthorne.
You're on to something.
The Mountain.
You're on to something. You're on to something
Scale
right
him down
there.
with CG
I
and
like that,
just
dude.
Oh,
But does
because
he-
he could legit hold
Yeah.
one of those big motherfucking battle axes and make it look like a toy.
But does he have the acting chops though? Because Gotrek, I would say.
Yeah, I guess he didn't talk much. I
Yeah.
don't know about his.
you know
acting.
who we could have cast for not Conrad Curtis?
Or even one of those power lifters that's gotten into acting. What's his name? The one that actually has the hawk.
Oh God, I think I know which one you're talking
You're
about.
asking me hard questions.
Yeah, just make my brain think. But the Hound, I think the Hound would have played a Primarch.
Okay, actually, so the guy who played the Mountain in the very first season, he's like 7'2", but he's very agile for being that big.
Oh, yeah.
him and then the guy, Nathan something or other.
Nathan Explosion?
No, he was in The Protector. He's in this movie called Samtam. They got these giant Australian men. So the whole premise of that movie is like this dude's like kind of a weenie, but he's like gigantic. And this girl tried to teach him how to fight Muay Thai. He gets stranded in Thailand. Someone takes his passport and his wallet. He's trying to get back to the consulate so he can get home. She tries to teach him Muay Thai. He pretends to be clumsy. The guy's actually very coordinated for a big person. He didn't fucking play Portarapo. Or fucking, honestly, he probably played fucking Morris. But the whole deal is it's like Popeye to spinach and the whole mixed. One day they feed him a spicy papaya salad and he goes nuts and destroys a building. And the whole movie is when they need him to fight, they feed him the salad, he turns red, he starts screaming and kicks the shit out of everyone. He fights this dude. The main fight is him versus the guy who played the Mountain in the first season of Game of Thrones. They're fighting on top of a Learjet. He kicks the engines off of it, and you're so on board with this shit. You're like, you know what? I'll allow it. Like, you don't have to suspend disbelief because you totally believe this guy's gonna kick the engines off a fucking Learjet.
Have a name for you.
What's his name?
Eddie Hall. Teach him to act.
Eddie Hall.
I think you're gonna need.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Perfect.
God.
That would work.
Dude,
That's
Jesus,
Eddie
go
Hall
for it.
to act. Either version, ripped or beer belly.
Either one.
I prefer beer belly.
Yeah, that's better.
He would definitely kill it. He'd
Yeah.
kill it, man.
So, I'll be okay. So the guy, about Hawthorne.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe he could act just like for Go Trek. I think it's somebody who would need because there's a lot of subtext there. Like
Yeah, there's a lot of subtle
like about
trauma.
all the bad things that happened to him and why he's a slayer in the first place. Like, but the Hawthorne guy, fuck man,
He
cast
has
his
to be
persona.
very
Angry.
verbal and angry.
Yeah. So back to our prime conundrum.
So we got one for Magnus.
I'll leave you to this.
Well, we didn't get the other two.
So what's we're missing here? We should write this down. We are way. Do you want to use the whiteboard and start next to you?
Yeah. Let me stack down. Oh. Just gonna keep burping as I go, just like in.
I think it's kind of mounted there though.
Oh, it's mounted.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Or is there?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Just gonna have to get rid of
Should
most
be-
of this. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Should be markers over here somewhere. Yeah.
Try not to hit my computer again to turn this on. I don't want that to happen.
Yep. Now you said Dave. Hooray!
All right.
Okay.
The markers. I don't see markers.
I thought we had a bunch over here somewhere.
Sharpie.
Sharpie, yeah. They should be out here though. Are you funning me? I had a whole bunch of dry erase markers. Well, maybe I don't any longer. Dun dun dun. Alright, shit.
Back here.
Is there a notebook around somewhere?
I do not have my notebooks.
I had a bunch in here somewhere.
Damn it.
Oh, see that you. Alright, so take from the top. So Lehman Russ, Dolph Lundgren, Mark Stronger's horse,
Uh-huh.
The Rock is Vulcan,
Yep.
Nicola Costa. He's got a East European name. The guy from Game of Thrones that played Jimmy Lannister.
Yeah, him. He was the lion.
Yeah, the Lion. Here we go. Okay, Kevin Durand, D-U-R-A-N-D. That's Dorn. That's the guy from Legion.
Orlando Bloom.
I
think we-
Fulgrim.
Yes.
Okay. We're gonna do a St. Brian's though.
You see Kevin Durant as
As Robo Dorn. Yeah.
I think I spelled his name wrong. I got this guy. I got a basketball player.
It's D-U-R-A-N-D. Okay.
Found him, yes. Yep, definitely.
Okay, so the guy.
We got Chris Bloom as Magnus. We got.
So to play Alfarius. Patrick Wilson to play Alfarius. Alfarius 1 on.
How's Patrick Willis look?
This sucker right there. Back from the 18.
Oh, okay.
Probably shave his head. I'm sure he won't complain too much.
Who do we get for Sanguinius?
We have someone set for that one yet, or are we still on the fence?
We're still on the fence with that one because I think we said Keanu. I said Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, but you have to be blonde though. Same kind of reason honestly for Corvax.
Corvax, yeah, definitely.
So we need some for Saguinas. Here, Kenneth, you're back.
Yes, still the Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
There you, my good sir.
So we need a dude
My skill.
to be the Primarch of the Blood Angels.
Yeah, you're gonna.
They have a pretty boy.
Put Chris Evans in a wig.
Well, fuck.
Chris Evans in a wig.
Yeah.
Damn, this man is smart.
Yeah. So Chris Evans, I'm assuming not a little bit, but Chris Evans is Saguinas. Brad Pitt is Willamon. The Avenging Son. Jason Momoa as Angron, as the Red Eagle. We're missing. Russell Crowe as Ferris Menace.
Isn't Russell Crowe blacklisted right now for being crazy?
Oh, what are you this time? Okay, so we'll skip him and we'll go to Jared Butler, who last night checked is not crazy. As Ferris Menace. So Ferris Menace gets his head cut off by Fulgur pretty early in the game, like in the Droplet Massacre. He's the first Primarch to go down. Jonathan Kahn, fucking Donnie Yen.
You can't
Blade
say
skills.
it's Jonathan Kahn like that. You gotta say it right, Jonathan Kahn!
Yeah.
Well, you got to scream it loud enough for it to zoom out to the planet. So.
Yeah. But also the
And
great
echoes.
Khan of the White Stars.
Horus. Logar. Did we get one for Logar?
We didn't get a Logar yet.
Wait, let me see what he looks like. I can probably
Usually head shaved. Some people.
The dude from Vikings that plays Ragnar.
Yes.
Travis Fleming.
Yes.
He's gonna shave his head, shave his face, and have in gold leaf words of the Book of Logar on his etched onto his face. Okay, so that takes care of the Aurelian. And let's be honest, like, Horus was prime ripe pickings for the Chaos Gods, but everything's basically Logar's fault. Everything. The whole enchilada, top to bottom. The Rise of the Emperor's cult is his fault, and then the Rise of the Chaos cults are his fault. You could claim Erebus and Typhus and those big bags are also, but it's Logar. Logar did everything wrong. He done fucked up.
Okay, so is that all of them
No,
essentially?
Magnus was gonna be Carl Urban. Is that right? Was that Carl Urban we decided for Magnus?
Wait, hold on.
Didn't you cast in like 4 different roles already though?
No, that was Mark Strong. Mark Strong was everybody. Someone even said online, I was reading this chat thread. That
If you want to
Mark
make the
Strong
best
made
movie
everybody.
ever, just stop all this. Nicolas Cage is everybody.
Dude, Nicolas
Yes!
Cage- Okay, so if we can't get Crispin Glover as Conrad
Return
Kurtz,
this for the Empire.
but dude, Nicolas Cage as Conrad Kurz as the Night Hunter, batshit crazy.
He can
speaks in
play it.
riddles. Yes,
You can do that.
he speaks in fucking riddles because like he's gradually going mad because he sees the future. He's like the Punisher on Nostromo.
And it's not like he's gonna say no.
Oh God, Christ.
He can't play a crazy guy. He can't talk in riddles.
He will take any job you give him.
Yeah. Side note, that movie Mandy was fucking nuts. That wasn't like
creating
Chaos
movies,
Bullshit.
Gary.
Shit. That was a great sketch. But dude, look into my Shudder account and watch Mandy. That fucking movie is fucked up. Like those guys, basically a chaos cult right there for sure. Okay, so who are we missing amongst the loyalists? So we got the Lion, we got Vulcan, we got Guilliman, we got.
From the list I can see right here on the Wikipedia, we have some, a majority of them, except for 2 that just stay unknown.
Well, those guys are dead. And and they were rumored to have been killed by Lumen Rust. Colorado, Batista, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Victorian.
Who would you say for him?
Great far here. I think he had a good character candidate too.
It's funny because when I went to Wikipedia for it, it says Lehman Russ or Lionel Johnson, number 1. Number 2, deleted from the Imperial Records, authorized by unknown.
Yeah, it was what, the 2nd and the 11th Legions. Some of them were folded into the Ultramarines, and they never explained what made them different because each Legion's different. Each Legion's gene stock. They never really explained that, but it explains why Willamon had like 250,000 Astartes in his Legion at the time of Horus Heresy. And the Word Bearers were the 2nd largest Legion, about 200,000. So we need Praetorian.
Yeah, but I don't think we got Victorian though.
That's not what he has.
The Death Lord, the Pale God, where's the hood?
Oh, Sean Bean. Because
Sean
it's
Bean?
ironic that he
Yes, Sean B, that's right.
Or failing not to have Sean Bean play the Emperor because the Emperor is killed, but he's in a deathless state at the end of things, and is still around 10,000 years later. His spirit is bound to the remaining active cells in his corpse, which are maintained for the Golden Throne. So either way on that one. So instead of that, save Sean Bean as the Emperor. Of course, Bravo, have the guy who played Bolton, Dreadful, the dad. What's his name? Bruce Bolton?
Oh,
Ramsey was his bastard child, right?
I believe so. Penny Dreadful, right?
Though in the books, Ramsey was a big fucking dude, and in the show he was creepy, but he wasn't as physically imposing.
Yeah, I believe we actually got all the Primarchs.
And then Sam Neill as Malcolm the Socialist.
Roy Kinnear? I think that's how you say it. But yeah, I think we actually got them all. Except for the ones that just kind of folded in with everybody else, but you know, that's neither here nor there.
We need to get a couple of the primary fucking Space Marines for each legion, like Karn the Betrayer, we use Karn, the Voice of Reason, for the 40 World Matures. Shit, man. You need Typhon for sure. Like this.
We should do voice actors for the Chaos Gods.
Yes.
Okay, just throwing this out there.
Gary Oldman is fucking Siege.
That works. You know you can't have this kind of a big thing without having Steve Bloom in there somewhere.
Okay.
Steve Bloom, that plays Spike Spiegel, Sub-Zero Mortal Kombat. He actually played a lot of roles for a voice actor. Mainly Spike Spiegel, Wolverine. Wolverine. The soldier guy from Call of Duty Zombies. Sub-Zero, that's one of the newer ones. I know he's famous for one character besides Spike Spiegel.
Well, who would you figure for? So, Korn the Blood God, Kornath, the Prince of Skulls. Who the fuck would voice him? Or it?
We would need someone with like a kind of a deep, gravelly voice, if you would say. Or like a deep, angry voice. Mainly angry.
Yes. Well, James Earl Jones is an obvious, but I don't know if you really get any count at this point. The voice of Vader, of course.
Yeah, that's a really hard one.
Just get a bunch of voice clips of Macho Man to just modify it.
Just modify it.
Let's go back. So Nurgle. Nurgle actually loves his followers and isn't an asshole. In a weird way, he's not an asshole.
Really?
Because he plays with diseases, but like he'll dispatch his demons to help his followers. He'll rescue them. He's funny. Most of his servants are fairly good humored, considering they're these walking like Cossacks. They're super tough. Which is weird too, because Mortorian was a dickbag. Like he was a humorous personable considering that they are chaos tainted mutants.
You ever played Darksiders before? Early start of the game? Ages ago. For Korn, the guy that played War.
Oh yeah.
I can definitely see that. Nurgle, that one's a hard one. Oh.
You honestly, Nurgle, fucking Ryan Reynolds.
Right. I want to say no, but he kind of would be perfect.
He's actually personable and funny and gross all at the same time. Though honestly, if you get him to play it straight face, I'd see him playing Singwanius.
Definitely, if he could.
He's a pretty boy.
He is a pretty boy.
He pretend he's not, but he fucking is, dude. He totally fucking is. So Slanesh, Cape Beckinsale before Slanesh.
Cape Beckinsale?
But you need like probably two, because Slanesh is like
multifaceted.
Yeah.
It's
So you need I'd say
like you need like someone doing
vast like between the two.
Yes, like you need like perfect sync with male and female
Definitely
voice.
cool as fuck. So my votes for Kate Beckinsale, and then for shooting Beagles, Colin Farrell. We need that's the 4 Chaos guys right there.
Well, what about the other ones? There's Korn. There's
Korn, Siege,
the Orc Gods.
Orc and War. They don't play a huge deal in the Horse Heresy though. That's much later.
Oh, that's true.
That's mostly Solani Gelling.
Actually, no, we forgot one.
So we did Siege, Nurgle, Korn, and Slanesh.
Who did we say for Siege?
Gary Oldman.
There we go.
Yeah. Gary Oldman, he voiced that fucking peacock in Kung Fu Panda 2.
Oh, yes. Yes, that'd be great.
Or pencil it in as an alternative for Nurgle. Okay, drop that Van Damme. Just because he'd be random as fuck.
Just because it
And
would be.
for Korn, the guy from the fucking Allstate commercials. Because he played like the water buffalo kung fu guy.
No.
With the dual weapons.
No.
Dude, you know the deep voice, just make him angry.
He would work. He would definitely work if he was just.
Or I can see him playing Vulcan.
No. I just thought so. He looks like Mark Strong. He actually played a really good dark side in Justice League the animated series.
That voice is creepy as fuck.
Yes.
Gravelly Rasmus.
Yeah. Oh, what is his name? What is his name? I can't believe I forgot it. Oh.
Use the internet. The internet's in your hands. Literally, use it. My burp me for no reason.
I don't know why people say dark side and they sometimes say dark seed.
It's
Michael Ironside.
Yes, he's an excellent voice actor. And dude, like, honestly, they made this movie in the fucking 90s. They could have cast him as one of the Primarchs. Could have cast him as fucking Horus. I'm not saying not Horus, Corderado or Victoria.
That is very much true. Oh, what about the guy that plays Hulk in like Marvel's cartoon shows?
I don't know. I haven't watched many of those. I'll be honest. I'm more a fan of the DC animated stuff. The Marvel stuff is kind of like their live action's so good. Their animated ones are kind of like, you know,
Like-
obvious mute. But
You mean a snert? Like what Paisley called me under your comment? I actually looked that up. Guess what a snert is? It's a pea soup.
A piece
It's a pea soup.
I always use snort instead of like a snort as like a asterisk, snort, asterisk as a new snort / laugh. But pea soup fucking works. I mean, in case you're wondering. Alright, so I guess it's like the core dudes right there.
Yeah, that is essential to everybody.
Or you get Hemsworth as Dorn, have Mark Strong play the Emperor, have
because Mark Strong.
he's fucking Mark Strong, bro. Have that guy from that Kevin Durant guy play fucking Horus. Shave his head, bulk him up. He looks like big ass Strong.
Let me see. First.
Or have him play. I went over the spoiler.
Yeah, definitely Horus. Yeah. Or if we want to go legendary here, Well, why don't we just get Schwarzenegger to play the Emperor?
Or Schwarzenegger to play fucking Lehman Ross.
That would work too.
Weird shit.
He can play it. He has the angry voice for it, but wasn't the Emperor technically based on Conan?
He's supposed to be primitive. Like, supposed to be the Emperor's been running around since like 5000 BCE, so he's got that undetermined ethnicity, like before people started spreading out into different populations. Like he was like this kind of obviously generic Central Asian ethnicity, which is basically Conan. The Conan is supposed to predates classical civilization, so it's like running around in like the Western Asian steppes, and then Conan, a man who wears fuzzy underpants and boots and nothing else.
And kills everything and is strong as a panther and scary
and inexplicably has like a steel sword when everybody else is like, hey, hear this new thing called bronze? It's super neat, guys. This guy's like iron technology out of nowhere. 2,000 years too early. Then they kind of rebooted him and it's like a complete fantasy world instead of like a pre-classical world. But, side note, Gizmo Momoa was actually relatively close to the
source material.
A lot of lines were wrote right from the books, from the old books. That being said, the guy who played the bad guy in that one, fuck is his name? He was in Avatar. Stephen Lang.
Yeah. Who do you think he play?
Stephen Lang. Hey, not bro, listen to it.
Okay.
Like I can see him doing a big job with that.
We do.
Or he play fucking Rogaldorn. Dude, Rogaldorn. I mean, I'm kind of throwing things at him here, but Rogaldorn's like big guy, square jaw, kind of a hard ass, either blonde or white hair, crew cut. I think Dolph Lundgren in the fucking Rocky movies.
Yes.
Like flat top.
Who? There's that one guy. He was with the Archangels. He's wears a hood all the time. 2 blasters, 1 plasma, 1 bolter. Part of the
They
Archangels.
kind of retconned his ass too. One of the Dark Angel guys, the Cypher.
Yes.
They have retconned that guy. Like they kind of were going one direction with him, and then like the Tory Heresy novels, like the recent ones, it's like they kind of decided to flip the script where it doesn't seem to jive with Cypher's appearances in the older books that take place in the 41st millennium. So I don't know, man. Like they seem to be kind of going back and forth on that. Like, are they evil? Are they traitors? Are they not traitors? Was Cypher in the right? Was Cypher in the wrong? Was Cypher actually Cypher? Was it somebody else? He became Cypher later.
Is there one of the other Primarchs?
Yeah, I don't fucking know.
Is Kid in a Primarch?
Then you find out that Lionel Johnson, and fucking Luthor are both entombed inside the rock. And one of the books they go and talk to Luthor. Like he's in a stasis pod and they let him out. They talk to him and put him back.
Well, why they put him back?
Because they take him out to basically bitch at him. Because like they're interrogator chaplains who find like the Forsaken. They capture them and make them confess to being bad monkeys and then they execute them. Which is kind of goofy. They're just catching them and killing them. They make them confess, and half the time they like juke the interrogators and escape or cause more problems.
Oh my!
Because of plot device.
Asmodai!
God damn it. We got like what's his bucket? Luthor, like the guy against the lion, and he might even be to some degree in the right because like Luthor kind of like or the lion kind of fucked Caliban. And there was sufficient evidence to think that the lion might have held off and after his initial issues might have waited to see who won the Battle of Terra and then just like pick the winning side. Because he's kind of a sketchy dude like that. A lot of sketchiness. But his body, he was mortally wounded, but he's actually interred in stasis somewhere in the rock, so he's still around. And let's actually address that. They did the whole Indominus Crusade thing. They took a 40k world and they just jumped ahead 2 centuries and covered a lot of shit. Oilamon's back. There's new Space Marines, like they have like super duper Space Marines. And
not just Space Marines anymore, gentlemen. We are now super duper
Space
Marines.
They're Chimera Space Marines with like fucking 3 extra organs. Where supposed to had 19 organs implanted in the initial process and they got 22. And they're like bigger, taller, and stronger. They basically sound like Custodes. They're just custodes.
We have the technology.
Yeah, $6 million. Man, I remember taking $1 million Space Marines and trying to turn them into fucking that. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I think a lot of that is not so much push the narrative forward, but to like, hey, all your old firstborn Space Marine models are now worthless. So you can buy these new and improved primary Space Marines, which look different, and replace your Land Raiders with fucking hover tanks. Fucking hover tanks. Where the fucking Eldar?
So when did we start going from tanks, hardcore land tanks, to going to Halo tanks?
That was very, very recent. The hover tank thing is the whole primary Space Marine thing. They've got new dreadnoughts. They've got guys who are not actually in dreadnoughts. They're piloting a dreadnought frame. There are there's so much extra stuff in there. Like they basically replaced the Land Raider and the Predator tanks with hover tanks and shit. Instead of just bringing back jet bikes, which the Space Marine Legions had during the Great Crusade, they kind of phased them out because they're hard to maintain. They're bringing back jet bikes. They're like, no, jet tanks, hover tanks, they're super fast. And that's kind of the Eldar's thing, is like the grav tank, and to extend the town. But I don't know, man. But
There's one more. Other than like the moving forward of the Warhammer stuff, I gotta know what happened to my boys, the Black Templars. I gotta know. Here they have been forgotten.
well, I think it's like they were one of the legions or one of the chapters that kind of rejected. Because they rejected what's his name to begin with? They rejected Williman's
Codex
Astartes. Yeah, they don't have psychers. They use navigators to pilot their ships. They don't use librarians, which can forge a path. They don't adhere to any of the Codex Astartes as far as numbers. Like at one point, they're hinting that there's between 5,000 and 10,000 of them. So some on a full Space Marine Legion. Today they retcon that. Like in the early Horus Heresy books, the legions were like, oh no, there's 10,000 of them. You hop forward, they kind of retcon that, where the legions are now in the hundreds of thousands. Like the fucking Sons of Horus, were like 160,000 Astartes with multiple battleships and fucking heavy cruisers and strike cruisers and shit, and then Gulavon had 250,000 Space Marines under his command. The Warbearers had just over 200,000. But the early phases of the book, it was more like each legion was 10 to 20,000 units. But then they wanted to retcon that so it's bigger and more crazy, which makes sense. So time of the Great Crusade, there were a couple of million Space Marines led by Primarchs and equipped with almost cutting edge tech. So yeah, hell went out there. It's weird shit, man. Weird shit. But
Just a whole bunch of lore to get into.
No, yeah. And again, they've retconned it a couple times, but the Black Templars, in the 41st millennium, there's between 5,000 and 10,000 of them. They're never the same place at the same time. But there are multiple battles where they field more than 1,000 Space Marines, and that's supposed to be a huge no-no. And whenever the Inquisition's like, hey, hang on a second, they're like, get fucked. No one fucks with the Black Templars because they're constantly doing the Emperor's work, basically. They don't hold territory, they don't garrison worlds, they're constantly attacking. From what I was snooping around with the Indominus stuff in the 42nd millennium, the Black Templars did not take kindly to the whole primary Space Marine ship. Here, a bunch of guys wearing your heraldry, but they're super duper Space Marines, and they're going to replace you guys. But they're going to take over your chapter over time. They didn't seem like the type to take that very well. But I don't know. I mean, Games Workshop has done amazing stuff. Games Workshop is also a company whose primary concern is the acquisition of currency. So they're going to do stuff like roll out new units to make your old units obsolete, so you can't play with Space Marines from 20 years ago. And even then, when they roll out new editions, they'll change the scale. It'll be the exact same general design, but it'll look obvious that your old Space Marines you bought off eBay are the size of Imperial Guard, and your new Space Marines you bought from a Games Workshop brick and mortar store are half again the size of your existing dudes. I don't know, man. I don't know. They're in it to make money. They're a business. They've got shareholders and profits and fucking targets to meet.
They got everything.
Yeah.
Almost essentially.
But fucking hover tanks, man, and intercessors and aggressors. Like, I don't know, bro. And then the aggressors almost look like they're halfway to being fucking Terminators. And there's a Centurions they rolled out in the previous edition, and it's like, so you get your dude, and he's hopped in this giant suit, which makes him bigger than a Terminator, but he's not a Terminator. He doesn't have to be a first chapter or first company veteran, and like all this shit. I'm like, man, are we doing this? Like, I don't know.
Are we seriously changing like the littlest things and making it more complicated than what it needs to be?
But then again, like every edition, they need to change stuff up so people buy more stuff. Instead of like change stuff up to get more people into the hobby and roll out additional factions, or God forbid, like give the Sisters of Battle plastic fucking models or whatever. I don't know. Which brings in the whole like, why can't there be female Astartes argument? It's like, why worry about having female Space Marines when you have the Sisters of Battle, which very few of them ever turn to chaos. Space Marines, technically, like half of them, historically, turn to fucking chaos. The Adeptus Sororitas, like, they are so badass, they're wearing a stripped down version of the power armor. It's still power armor, but it's not on par with Space Marine armor. They have most of the weapons, but not as much. They don't have fucking full-on dreadnoughts. They're normal baseline humans with no genetic modification. They're just young women that are brought into a school of Virginium. They're trained from like youth, from like elementary school age, to be warrior priestesses basically. And they are virtually incorruptible and will go toe to toe with fucking Chaos Marines. Do you want badass? There's your badass. Then you also have the Silent Sisterhood, which are all nulls. Like they are like the soulless.
Mm-hmm.
They cancel out psychic powers. They drain magic, and their mere presence harms demons. Like, and they don't speak. They wear this armor that has like their gorget is like this like high collar that looks like a hand over their mouth. They speak in battle sign, and in the books, like in the Horus Heresy stuff, they're not even wearing power armor. They're wearing just high tech armor, articulated armor, but it's what their muscles can carry around. And then like the Master of Mankind, like one of them is fighting side by side with the Adeptus Custodes, which are like pocket Primarchs. Like they're like well above Space Marines. Like one of them is worth any 10 Space Marines basically. Mm-hmm. And this woman is fighting side by side with Custodes against demons and Chaos Marines. They as primogenitors of Chaos Marines, so I haven't gone full mutant yet. But she's like fighting side by side against demons in the fucking webway next to Custodes, and she's like washing his fucking back. If you want badass, more Sisters of Battle stuff and more Silent Sisterhood. There you go. Not like, oh, we want female Space Marines. There's more you can do with it. You know, there's 2 other factions. If you want female badasses, there you go.
And then even that, you could just like add in a third one.
Yeah.
You don't need female Space Marines because, you know, people with fan fictions.
Yeah. I mean, people already do that. Yeah. You know, it's like, and they say it's lazy writing. Well, you know, if you're going to change someone genetically to be a super soldier and they used like male DNA to do it, it makes sense from a lore standpoint. Mm-hmm. And again, it's ignoring the fact that there's a lot of female badasses built into Warhammer 40k, plus the all-female or the integrated Imperial Guard or Astra Militarum units. How many female ship captains there are in the Imperial Navy that are badass? You know, so you don't have to go and retcon things. It's like, oh look, there's women Space Marines.
Or now they started doing it.
Yeah, it's like there's already good shit you fucking have. There's plenty of good shit you have. It's like, look, there's fucking the Adeptus Sororitas. There's a fucking Silent Sisterhood. There's how many female Inquisitors. Like, run with that. It's there. It's part of the lore that needs to be expanded anyway. There's so much potential for that, especially the Sisters of Silence. Like, they crew the black ships that whisk away Psychers and take them to Terra and be basically either soul-minded to the Emperor or fed to him. Like 1,000 Psychers a day die to keep the Emperor alive. They put him in this giant machine, and he absorbs their psychic might, and that keeps his body like shackled to like the remaining cells in his corpse, keeps his essence there. The Sisters of Battle, you get into all kinds of Lovecraftian crazy shit. They're on these giant dark ships that are warded against psychic power, and like they never speak. It's like super spooky. Why not expand that? There's so much potential there. Dive into it. Not like, well, let's go and just retcon this and make Space Marines that. I mean, what are you going to change on there? Oh, look, the figures. You get this breastplate, which is the male Space Marine, or this breastplate where we kind of made it look like it's got boobs. Like, how are you gonna differentiate? They're wearing fucking power armor that weighs 400 kilograms. And renders them like they look like a giant, like armor-plated bear with this hulking gorilla made out of plasteel. What are you gonna change on the fucking the models to make them a female model for the tabletop?
The only thing that I can probably see is just giving them like more curvature and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that's just like then you're gonna get attacked by feminazis and you get attacked by simps and white knighters and all that. But then it just comes with a whole bunch of stuff.
Somebody would say it's like, oh look, so a female space marine has to have those proportions. Well, to make them look any different from a male space marine, considering again that they look like an armored gorilla. Like one of the best descriptions I see is like how the Eldar look down their nose at humans and space marines, but they still fear them and respect them. And someone's like, why is that? It's like, well, if a gorilla in a suit of armor busts in your living room waving a shotgun around, you might not really look at them as your intellectual equal, but it's still a fucking, like, what, 600-pound animal that can bench press a fucking car?
Essentially, yeah.
Wearing a suit of armor, waving a shotgun around. It's like, well, it's not as sophisticated as my Walther PPK, pew pew pew, right? But it's got a fucking shotgun that's in your fucking living room, and it can rip your arms off if it's so inclined. So, again, big hulking armored gorilla of a human being, and they're also, like, conditioned, like hypno-conditioning to be asexual and aromantic. Does it really fucking matter if it's a male or female space marine? Like, just go to the time and effort to do this. No. Why not get, again, the Sisters of Battle, the Silent Sisterhood, and actually take all these female characters that can have more development and be made more interesting and be, like, expanded upon and flesh out another part of the lore. But
I think what Warhammer kind of has that I'm just saying kind of, puts it in kind of like this lore rut is just they have so much at once that they can't really focus on that.
true.
From what I think that they should do, I'm not, book writer. I'm making my own game, but that's in itself a bitch to deal with. Is that they need to finish the story,
Yeah.
then go back and add in everything.
Well, yeah, they didn't finish the fucking Horus Heresy for starters. Like that. There's so many fucking books. Oh my god.
It's just
I could tear through a novel in very short order, and I'm still behind on that fucking series. So I'm going to turn around, like, I'll get into, like, oh, I'm caught up. I'll go dive in this new fantasy series or this new sci-fi series. I got the Expanse series, like, where I'll start, like, rereading my old Warhammer fantasy books or, whatever. I'll start reading comics again. And I turn around, there's like, boom, there's like 6 new Horus Heresy novels out of nowhere. I'm like, what the fuck? And some of them were attacking stories that were already touched upon in some of the short story anthologies they released like years ago.
all right, guys, and I think that'll be it for this stream. Y'all keep it safe, y'all keep it real, and maybe we'll be back next time with another topic on it.
Too much caffeine.